And I would like to say before we get started, because I know some of the attendees joining us at this meeting were some of the attendees who were just at the parent forum. So I would point out that if you want to submit comments to the Board of Ed, it is a different email address. It's boecomments@menands.org. All right, Jeff, I believe we have everyone on, including our board clerk, Ms. Mintiply. So whenever you are ready.
Go ahead, Jean. She on mute?
No, I think she was. Jean, you're on mute again. There you go.
Okay. Can I get a motion to enter into public session, please?
This is Courtney. I'll make a motion to enter public session.
Okay.
I'll second.
Is that John?
Yep.
That was.
All right, great. Thank you. I'll move to roll call. Mr. Masler?
Here.
Mr. Nevins?
Here.
Mrs. Wilson?
Present.
Mrs. Jacula?
Here.
And Mr. Dyfendorfer?
I'm here.
Okay. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the
and
republic
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, so we take a moment of silence in honor of all the folks that have been affected by COVID-19 and also Mr. Floyd and the murder of him several months ago. We'll take a moment of silence. Thank you. So we'll begin tonight with thanks for everybody for coming. Comments from the public on agenda items. Just a reminder for those members of the public in attendance, this is one of two opportunities afforded members of the public to comment on and inquire about agenda items. Members of the public also have an opportunity at the end of the evening agenda to ask questions or voice concerns or comments on matters not formally noted on the agenda, and we do appreciate everybody's cooperation. Once again, that is a different email. I don't see anything to date. You, Dr. Long?
No, not since the last meeting, Jeff.
Okay. All right, we'll move along to the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions about the minutes? I know there was one question that Courtney had around which meeting was it? It was the regular board meeting around that the PTA had applied for a grant and not actually gotten the grant, but thanking the PTA for applying for the grant, correct?
Yes, and Jean had updated the minutes and sent them back out to the group, so you should have the corrected version now.
If there are no other questions, could I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District minutes both the 2013 2020 organizational board meeting and the regular board meeting as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Wilson, you with us?
Did you hear me? I said aye.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So you're awake.
I'm here.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Move along to the communication to the board. There's a letter from myself that you've all got. You should all have. Moving along to business matters, we have a couple discussion one discussion item in here, the school reopening.
So, and again, we are just coming off of our first public forum. Obviously, it's been a very busy summer, and we did receive some guidance and direction from the governor on Friday, which allowed us to further plan our options for our students and for our families. I'd like to thank the board for being a part of this evening's forum, as well as the other panelists. We had 19 panelists representing different constituent groups who've been and will continue to be involved in the planning conversation. We had over 88 participants, which is a wonderful turnout. And again, as I said during the forum, will really help. It really shows that how important our kids are to us, and our concerns across the board for them coming back to school in a safe and kinder and gentler way. As indicated at the forum tonight, that will be one of 3 forums for families. We'll talk a little bit more at the end of the meeting about dates that will work for the Board of Education to be able to be present so we can get those posted. In addition, all the questions that were asked tonight will be captured and begin to generate an evolving FAQ, or frequently asked questions, that will be posted on our webpage.
Does anybody have anything related to that?
Yeah, Jeff, really quick. Right, so there's still a lot of information and a lot of things going on. When it comes time for the our approval of the resolution coming out afterwards, I still have concerns about the plan and the way it's submitted. If we're going to want to acknowledge them now or do it before the resolution, you let me know.
I would say if you have any.
I'm sorry, one more time. I didn't hear anything you said, Jeff.
I'm sorry. If you have anything, go right ahead.
I'm not questioning the safety that's going on. I'm questioning the fact that we are one of the only districts out of 47 districts that are bringing back every student. Just because we can bring back every student because we may have space for every student might not necessarily be the best thing for the district and the safety of the children and teachers. I don't think that outside of that too, I don't think we've even addressed or begin to address the cost involved with COVID and what that's going to imply moving forward with taxpayers. And I also have issues with, I understand the reopening plan and I understand the information that was provided in the reopening plan. It's a boilerplate of a BOCES plan that almost every other district in our BOCES has, with just some different names and a few changes and tweaks here and there to modify who those people are and what their practices are. I don't think that, I can't honestly say I'm in full support of the reopening plan as it's submitted. I think we should be thinking about phasing in students. And I'm going to hold that as my objection currently.
Anybody else?
I guess the only thing I would add to that, Jeff, is the governor's direction on July 13th was that all districts' focus should be on bringing all students in person if they are able to do so in adherence with the guidance. I fully agree and understand that we are one of few districts doing so locally. But we have some pretty unique circumstances, and I can tell you the one other district that is doing it locally is one of the only other K-8 districts that doesn't sit on the island or in Western New York for many of the same reasons that we are. We have the space and the capacity to do it. I would say also related to that is there are a number of districts, because of their large size regionally, who are bringing, even though they may only be bringing their K3 students into a K5 building, are still bringing in a far larger number of students than we are. But I certainly, that's not to discount your concerns, Bill, just by way of explanation.
Yeah, and I would actually agree with the bill. I fundamentally disagree, philosophically as a person, not as a board member, of kind of the approach of the state and beyond with all of this as well. But we're kind of held hostage too. So if we don't do it, we don't get aid money. So we're held hostage. So in some capacity. So it's a fluid document, I know, and I know there's 35 days, so that could change. It's up, it's a first stab at it that we're approving. We're not approving the whole year and what it's going to look like. We're approving what's going to happen. And I know that, there are 140 school districts in New York State that haven't even submitted their plans yet, and they have till Friday, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble otherwise. So I fundamentally agree with what you're saying. We do have 35 days. A lot can happen. This is we had our first public forum tonight. This is our first stab at the plan. The plan could change. I do see the brevity of the financial implications as well, and that weighs on us heavily, of course, to offer the programming and everything that we want to that our public demands of us. So I would say to the public that's out there, I'm just thinking about my daughter and what she has to go through to go to college. So if you're thinking about getting yourself and your children tested, please do, because my child has to do it before she goes back to school. I know she's 18, and a lot of these kids are younger and such, but that's a personal view of things. So I'll kind of end on that. I do have one question that was not discussed in the reopening tonight about how we're handling outside groups using our facility. I know there's some guidance through the direction of our lawyers and what has been put out by the state, but if you could answer that, what we're planning.
Sure, and we've actually had some of our typical folks reach out to inquire, and I have to say that they've been more than understanding that we are in unique times. What we did share at the forum tonight was our own decision on our own extracurricular activities, and that we have those on hold at least through the first trimester, and we'll revisit that. What I'll say now is that I can't imagine letting other groups come in and use our facilities when we're not even letting our own in-house groups come in to use facilities. We don't have the control over those groups that we go over our own kids either, as far as knowing who they have here in the building, because they are typically here when we are not. So I would say in general, that's on hold at least through the first trimester, and then subsequent decisions will be made as we get closer to the second trimester.
Okay. And the last thing that I'll end with relates to, where is it here? I wrote some notes down. My comment back in June when we were thinking about doing our plan, and we were just beginning our plan, and it really revolves around we can do the planning the best we can, but until we walk the schools, bus, all those things, I still, if that's been done yet, as great. I think that should elementary and the middle. So our teachers, our administrators, that our parents, they're taking a look at things that may.
Jeff, you're kind of in and out, just so you know.
Okay, sorry. So essentially, just having a walkthrough of a day of a typical elementary student or a typical middle school student by the administration, by staff, by the principal, by the parent groups, to really take a look around as they kind of walk through a simulation, because there might be something that you missed or something that we caught that we could really think about in our calls and presentation. I'll just reinforce the comment I made back in June.
Sure, and I think that's definitely feasible and doable, Jeff. Ms. Canavo's on the call tonight too. She's been doing a lot of work around the arrival and dismissal and the protocols with that. We are hopefully by the end of next week, finishing up all of the building project pieces in the classrooms to be able to put them together as they will be for reopening as we anticipate it now. And I think that that's definitely something we can accomplish. That's also part of the reason that you will see the schedule proposal or the calendar proposal that you do tonight, because I think it's important when we have all of our staff here in the building, though everybody's been involved in pieces and parts of the conversation. Exactly to your point, what did we not think of that as we all sit here together and we think of the day in a life of our kids that we need to modify or adjust or put in place if it's not there yet.
Thank you.
I would just add to Bill's point. I'm thinking of the numbers that are coming back, Bill. I think it's going to be very interesting for us to see how many parents choose to send their children back, and that could limit the number of children that are actually in our school building. So I'll be interested to see how it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as survey results came back, just the variety of responses, the number of people that said, you absolutely need to have a person school, my student wasn't learning anything, and, you know,
Yep.
large number of parents that said, you're crazy, I can't believe you're opening school. You know what I mean? Like, just that it's an incredibly difficult position that the school is in right now and that we're in right now, and there's not going to be any answers. So we'll have to see, like Jen said, how many people actually do want to come back.
Yeah,
It's not an easy, it's not going to be a pretty, there's no elegant solution here.
No.
you know, and to that point, and again, I value and respect everybody's individual circumstances and situations and whatever decision they make on behalf of their child. That said, I think the only certainty in all of this is regardless of what we ultimately decide and what we ultimately do to open school, knowing that may change, there is a group of people that will not be happy with our decision.
Well, and on that note, I'm actually very, I'll say this publicly, was really glad to see the survey results from the parent in the community. We had, was it over 60% of our community that responded to that? So this survey world, which I use, 25 to 30% is considered very good. When you talk about response. So I would good to see that. Getting some good data from that survey.
Is anyone else having hearing issues, or is it just my computer? Everybody seems to be floating in and out. Is that just me, or is it everyone?
Okay. Want to put it on mute? Maybe it'll work.
It's okay.
Okay. Did everybody hear me okay? Just saying, hopefully everybody heard that. Just for 60% response rate for our survey this past summer. I do think, just talking to other board members around the state over the last several weeks, a 30% non-return rate seems to be kind of the going rate right now. I know that could obviously spike if we do get some terrible results in the next few weeks, but that's what it's running at. But I'm thankful for that data because I think that's helping inform some of the decisions that we're making. Anybody else? All right, we'll move along unless Dr. Long, you have anything else, or are you good? All right.
I'm all set, Jeff. Thank you.
All right, so we'll move along to business office for information. Enclosed for the information of the board are copies of the warrants for July 2020, 2, 3, and 4, Fund A, 1, 2, Fund EC, and 1 and 2, Fund H. Any questions about that? Looks like, Bill, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
I don't know if it was this one or the business offer for approval on budget transfers, but so there's a $36,000 payment to Amsure. Can you tell me what Amsure is?
Jeff, you
I am
on?
mute. What the fuck?
You're muted, Kathy.
Can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah, we got you. We hear you.
Okay. Amsure is our insurance, our liability, our cyber.
They're just renamed, right?
Used to be Adirondack Trust, Bill. Now it's
It used to be
Amsure.
Adirondack Trust, it switched to Amsure.
So is that completely different than the nicer insurance? Do we have nicer insurance, New York State
No,
insurance?
we don't use Nicer, we use Amsure.
So is the district covered for COVID-related claims? Because nicer covers every COVID-related claim that comes in. If we're not a member or not a participant of nicer, does our insurance carrier cover COVID-related claims?
I can follow up with our agent, Bill, and find out exactly what the coverage is. I know we've got our general liability, we've got our cyber through them. What I can do is I can follow up and I'll get more specific details on the COVID for you.
And what I'll say to that too, Bill, and for the benefit of the rest of the board, the two primary school providers are Nicer and what was at our Adirondack Trust and is now Amsure. And the coverages tend to be very much in line with one another.
I think what Bill's relating to is the guidance we got from the attorneys around COVID and the documentation around reopening. And that's where it's mentioned on page 2 at the bottom of the page. That's what he's referring to, I believe. Correct?
Yeah, so as much as I hate not listening to counsel, and that was one of the issues, right? And they specifically mentioned that. I don't know how much we can actually divulge of what counsel tells us or not, but if counsel's telling us nicer covers COVID-related claims and we should be checking with our carrier, I think we should be checking with our carrier to see if we're covered for COVID-related claims.
And we can certainly do that, Bill.
All right, anything else? Looks not. Business office for approval. So we have budget transfers for June and July. Any questions about that before we go through a resolution? All right, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the enclosed budget transfers for June and July 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
Jeff, can I hop in for 1 second?
Sure.
Because I see somebody in the attendee list trying to raise their hand, which is not an option. So I just want to remind folks, if they have a comment they would like to make that will be addressed by the board at the end of the meeting, we use the email address BOE-comments with an S at the end at menands.org. BOE-comments at menands.org.
All right, thank you for that. We will move along to the treasurer's report. Enclosed are the treasurer's reports for the months of June and July. Are there any questions about those reports? I don't see anybody's hand up, so can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the treasurer's report for the months of June and July 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. We'll move along to change orders. Any questions about the one change order that we have this month?
Go ahead, Bill.
I'm just curious. I apologize. My phone is going off also. So it's a general contractor change this time, not electrical, and I'm thrilled. But did it have to do with the plumbing situation? No. Okay.
No, it had to do with the painting of existing doorways. And initially, it would have come through much higher, Bill. They started and they went ahead and did the cafeteria doors and door frames for us that were existing. And once they got done with that, we actually moved that work to our own staff and they have continued that work. I can't promise you they won't be next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, hereby approve the following change orders as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. We'll move along to tax rate for 2021. Encloses a memo from Mrs. Seatek dated August 4th, 2020, outlining the 2020-2021 tax rate. Can I get a resolution, please?
Whereas the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free District has been authorized by the voters of the annual school district meeting to raise for the budget of the 2020-2021 school year a sum not to exceed $9,824,370. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education fix the equalized tax rates by towns and confirm the extension of the taxes as they appear on the following tax roll as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution carries. Mrs. Seatek, we're going to all need to sign that document, correct? And how will we do that?
Kathy, you're muted.
Oh. It's on the next meeting that we do that, Jeff, the signatures.
Okay, so the document's not, okay.
Right.
Well,
It's on the warrant.
We're still going to need to sign it though. We're all remote.
We'll figure out a way to do that.
All right. Moving along to the 2020-2021 safety plan. School districts must state, Board of Education must annually approve safety plans. Mrs. Berger and Mrs. Canavo have updated the plan to current. This document belongs to recommendation that the board approves the plan.
John, can you mute?
Oh, yeah.
Question? Comment?
Yeah.
Something? I again would just like to ask to move this. We're meeting at August 24th. It's still within the month. That before we approve this, some additional questions be answered, and we can move this resolution of the 2020-2021 safety plan to the August 24th meeting.
What are those questions?
I honestly don't know if I can say them.
Oh, are they sensitivity questions?
I believe so.
So, Bill, what was included in your packet this week, the safety plan, is a copy of what was posted on the webpage and is public information. So if it's any of the information in there, it can be spoken to publicly because it was posted and to public comment in the 30-day period, which expires today. We have received no public comment.
Just then, I know we added Jen Canavo to the plan. Who's the school board representative of the safety school team?
That's Courtney.
That's Courtney.
And then additionally, I'm sorry, hold on. Were there any major changes from the safety plan submitted last year that we approved, other than the naming of a new principal?
In the public facing piece, which is what needs to be approved, no, there were not. I will tell you on the back end of it, there were some specific responses included. I provide some detail in a communication to the board over the weekend, but to your point, that is not something I would necessarily want to discuss publicly.
And I appreciate that, and it shouldn't be. I was curious as to what changes were made, and I couldn't find my last year's copy. I'm fine with the safety plan. Thank you for the answers.
All right, anybody else? All right, Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approves the 2020-2021 district safety plan as recommended by the superintendent.
I believe Ms. Wilson seconded.
Did you? She did? All right.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. All right, so next is the approval of the reopening plan. Any other questions about that when we discussed earlier?
Yeah,
I'll make
so-
one last comment if that's option.
Sure.
So again, not to go against what council says, and council is advising us to approve the resolution. I am going to continue to say I am not in full support of the reopening plan as submitted. I think a phased-in approach without 100% of the student population coming back to the building full-time every day for the entire day of instruction listed seems to be a safer way to get students back in person, back to in-person instruction, as well as to get used to new procedures. I understand this is a changing document, and I want to thank everyone involved in their comments and supports of the document, and I understand the document's going to change. I reluctantly will vote yes because council advises us to vote yes. But I again am not in support of the plan that's submitted. But I hate going against council.
I think Courtney had a comment as well.
My question was just about, obviously, you know, that it is still, we are still working on things. And I think resolution says if, you know, substantial revisions are made, that we need to approve it again. Is that right? So we would have to look at this again before school starts.
That is correct, and it could change even after school starts, Court. So, not that it's nearly as important a topic, but I liken it to the calendar, where we may make a change, but then there could be subsequent changes. And that said, and I know we've heard from 2 board members, and we can certainly hear from the rest of them. And I completely understand the uncertainty around this and the hesitation and the reservation. So one option is to table it until the next meeting, but I'll let the whole board weigh in on that before we make a decision. I don't know what, if anything, more or different we will know by the next meeting, but it could give us time.
Anybody else?
I'm in favor of approving it, knowing that it is a fluid document and it is subject to change. And, you know, we can change it, but approving it at this point doesn't carve it in stone. And I think, you know, in a lot of ways, the plan offers enough flexibility for the parents or community members that are having concerns to sort of test out the waters and make some decisions about what they want to do with their kids. And I don't think, you know, we're dragging anybody through the front door at this point. So, yeah, so I'm in favor of approving it at this point.
I think I'm in the same place as John. I could reiterate pretty much everything he said, but it being a fluid document, knowing that the recommendation is for in-person. And again, like John said, we're not forcing people to come into school if they don't want to be there. We are giving people a different option also. So at this point, I'm okay.
Okay, anybody else? All right, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the reopening plan developed for the Menands Union Free School District for the 2020-2021 school year, and hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to amend, modify, and/or update the reopening plan is needed, subject to further board approval in the event of substantial revisions to the plan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
On advice of council, aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. We'll move along to contracts for approval, free and reduced lunch program. Enclosed for the information of the board is a policy statement for free and reduced lunch meals program. Are there any questions? If not, can I get a resolution?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve district participation in the free and reduced lunch program and adopts the family eligibility criteria to assist in determining eligibility for the 2020-2020 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution carries. Advanced Therapy Special Education Services Contract. Enclosed for the board is a copy of the Advanced Therapy Contract for physical therapy and occupational therapy services for the 2020-2021 school year. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the contract between Menands School and Advanced Therapy for the 2020-2021 school year as per the attached agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, resolution carries. Next one, Wildwood School, agreement for the services 2020-2021. Enclosed for the board is a copy of the Wildwood School agreement for services contract for the 2020-2021 school year. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the agreement for services between Menands School and the Wildwood School for the 2020-2021 school year as per the attached agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution carries. Crossroads Center for Children, Special Education Services. Enclosed for the board is a copy of the Crossroads Center for Children contract for special education services for one student for the 2020-21 school year. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the contract between Menands School and Crossroads Center for Children for the 2020-2021 school year as per the attached agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Move along to Behavioral Transformations Licensed Applied Behavior Analysis Services, PLLC. Closed for the board is a copy of the Behavioral Transformations Licensed Applied Behavior Analysis Services, PLLC, to provide support services for behavioral challenges for the 2020-2021 school year. Get a resolution, please.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the contract between Menands School and Behavioral Transformations License Applied Behavioral Analysis for the 2020-21 school year as per the attached contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Move along to policy. Policy number 5300, our annual approval of the code of conduct. There were no changes from prior year. Can I get a resolution, please?
Jeff, quick question. Before we approve this, I know there was sort of work being done prior to revise this. I assume that's very much on a back burner at this point because the world turned upside down. But I just want to make sure that's still something on somebody's list somewhere.
Absolutely, yes, John.
Duly noted. So can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District hereby accepts the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the 2020-2021 conduct.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Who's singing?
I'm sorry, my daughter has dance class in the room next door to me.
I knew it. I remember that song. All right, we'll move along to personnel matters, resignations, teacher aide, Caitlin Schwartz.
Before we start on personnel matters, Jeff, I just want to point out to the board that some of the folks that we'll be discussing in this next session may be on the meeting as attendees. They don't have the ability to talk, but if the board would like to acknowledge anything, some of them, if not all of them, are listening.
Okay, so teacher aide, Caitlin Schwartz. Enclosed for the board is a letter from Caitlin Schwartz dated August 5th, resigning from her position as teacher aide from Menands Union Free School District, effective immediately. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District accept the letter of resignation from Caitlin Schwartz dated August 5th, 2020, resigning from her position as a teacher aide from the Menands Union Free School District, effective immediately.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Caitlin, we thank you for your service to our district.
I echo that. Katie did a great job with our kids. She will be missed.
Appointments. One full-time employee, probationary special education teacher, Caroline Hampton. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District does hereby appoint Caroline Hampton to a 4-year probationary appointment in the special education tenure area on MS Step 1 of the current Menands Association of Teachers salary schedule. Ms. Hampton holds a New York State teaching certificate in special education, elementary education, and literacy. Ms. Hampton's probationary period will begin on September 1st, 2020, and will end on or about August 31st, 2024. A copy of Ms. Hampton's resume has been included for the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution carries. Welcome aboard, Caroline. One full-time employment probationary elementary appointment. Domenica, I'm sorry if I butcher it, Hallett, get it right? Can I get a resolution, please?
Dominica. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District does hereby appoint Dominica Hallett to a 4-year probationary appointment in the elementary education tenure area on Step 5 of the current Menands Association of Teachers salary schedule. Ms. Hallett holds a New York State teaching certificate in elementary and special education. Ms. Hallett's probationary period will begin on September 1st, 2020, and will end on or about August 31st, 2024. A copy of Ms. Hallett's resume has been included for the board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The resolution carries. Welcome to the team, Dominica. One full-time employee probationary social worker, Ashley Mondini. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District does hereby appoint Ashley Mondini to a 4-year probationary appointment in the school social worker tenure area on Step 1 of the current Menands Association of Teachers salary schedule. Ms. Mondini is a licensed social worker and holds a provisional school social worker certificate. Ms. Mondini's probationary period will begin on September 1st, 2020, and will end on or about August 31st, 2024. A copy of Ms. Mondini's resume is attached.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries.
If I could hop in there, I just want to thank the board. This is something we've been working hard to do, is to move to a full-time social work position. I think we all recognize the benefit it can have to a number of our students and their families. And I think though it was something we had approved as part of the budget and was supported by our community, that given these times that we are in now, it will be even more valuable to us. So thank you very much.
I agree. Welcome to the team, Ashley. Coordinator of Pupil Personnel Services, Megan Amatrano. Can I get a resolution, please?
Drop me. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District does hereby appoint Megan Amatrano to a 4-year probationary appointment in the tenure area of administration, effective August 11, 2020. Salary will be in accordance with the terms of employment agreement. Ms. Amatrano's probationary period will begin on August 11, 2020, and will end on August 10, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Thank you, Megan, for your continued good work. Board of Education matters, CSE, CPSE recommendations. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved, the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the CSE, CPSE recommendations as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. Moving along to substitute teachers fully cleared. Can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approve the following substitute teachers for the 2020-2021 school year as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Resolution carries. School calendar. Enclosed, please find the revised 2020-2021 school calendar. Can I get a resolution, please? Unless we got somebody that, oh, go ahead, Jen. Yep.
I just didn't receive one. An
All right,
update.
so let me explain it to you so you know. We did talk about it during the forum. Our original calendar had 2 superintendent's conference days up front. They were actually the Wednesday and the Thursday prior to the Labor Day weekend, with students then attending to begin on the 8th. You know, we've had a pretty broad regional conversation, but more specifically with our neighbors in North and South Colony, which serve a lot of the same students we serve here at Menands. And to provide additional time for planning and preparation, the majority of districts are suggesting moving all 4 superintendent's conference days up front, putting them post the Labor Day weekend. So that would be Tuesday, the 8th through Friday, the 11th would be superintendent's conference days. That removes the 2 conference days that were in November and March, and students would begin on the 14th. It still gives us more than the 180-day requirement, which gives us some flexibility in the event of emergency closings, though we know that may change too, based on the ability to now teach remote.
So Dr. Long, the 2nd and the 3rd are no longer a superintendent's day.
Correct. It would be 8, 9, 10, 11 superintendent's conference days.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? All right, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School approve the revised 2020-2021 calendar. There's a word missing there, but
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries, and somebody gets some 40 for that door.
That's your door, Don. And just as we go into the second resolution, that is very similar to the resolution we put on in the spring when we were dealing with uncertainty, and that just would allow for continued adjustments to be made to the calendar if we were between board meetings when we had to make those.
All right, so we have another school district calendar resolution, which Dr. Long just talked about. Any questions? If not, can I get a resolution, please?
Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Menands Union Free School District approves the authorization of the Superintendent of Schools to modify the Menands Union Free School District 2020-2021 calendar as approved by the Board of Education as needed. Apologies for the door.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carries. I'll move along to the annual fire inspection. The annual fire inspection of the Menands Union Free School District was conducted on January 27th, 2020. The report is filed in the office of the business manager. There's no resolution. We don't have to do a resolution for that? Can you?
Nope, it's just an annual notice.
Just a notice, okay. Gotcha. Moving along to superintendent's comments.
First speak to conversations we've been having along with members of the village, and we've broadened that conversation, following some discussion in as a follow-up to our moment of silence that we've been having in response to the murder of George Floyd and the impact that has had on society at large, but really having a concerted conversation around the impact that is having on our local community. And how we may be able to have some positive come out of that by talking about the injustices and about how they impact various members of our community. Started as a small group in our school library, and then grew into a broader group of 25 folks at the village hall, including village board members, school board members, PTA representatives, members of our police department, and then the most recent meeting a couple of weeks ago where folks were invited to bring another person into the conversation. It's been very powerful, meaningful conversation that no doubt will positively impact our community and in that vein, our school and our students. And I'm just proud to be a part of those conversations. I'm happy we've had board members join us in those conversations. I look forward to expanding those conversations to include more folks in person as the rules allow us to do that. I think it's important work. It's going to be hard work. It's necessary work. And again, proud to be a part of it and glad you are all joining me in those conversations.
Do we have a date for any future conversations?
I don't think we left the date last time. My second topic tonight is building projects. I am very happy with what we are and just the movement that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. I have a meeting scheduled tomorrow morning at 10 with our on-site project supervisor. And our intent is to sit with a calendar to really put on those last few things that need to be done. And I am very, very, very hopeful. The date of that last item is a week from Friday. I'm going to cross my fingers. But just to give you a sense, because the board has kind of seen it probably more recently than most folks or members of the board when they've been here for pre-board. One of the things we were able to accomplish because we were ahead of schedule, kind of one of our silver linings to being able to get an early jump with the building closed, but also under budget. The primary wing had essentially not been touched that much. So in the primary wing, we had the carpeted hallway and classrooms, which in light of new cleaning protocols were problematic. We've been able to carry the flooring through all of those spaces now. That is done. It is being waxed beginning tomorrow afternoon. And also in each of those rooms, we were able to dimmable lighting that addresses the social emotional learning needs of many of our students are stimulated by light. The library will be recarpeted with carpet squares. The demolition is done. The carpet squares should go in again this week. And we are waiting for the last couple of pieces of casework for our new music and art room. And then lastly, the tiling of floor downstairs. So we are really, really, really close, folks. And I am, the start of this school year brings its own set of things we are dealing with. I recall very vividly being here until midnight on Labor Day last weekend, making sure we were going to be able to move in. And we're in a good spot. And as I said during the forum tonight, we have more room now than we've ever had before. And if at any time we need it, we need it now. So I'm pleased with the progress. I'm pleased that it is close to done. And I am hopeful that our September board meeting may be in person and maybe in our new community room.
Thank you, Dr. Long. All right, we will move along to informational material. Our next board meeting is on August 24th at 6:30 p.m. Do we want to take the time to do the calendar for the next forums?
Yeah, and Jeff, there's kind of a couple of things on my mind as we do that. We could certainly go next Monday. I know for some folks that's a conflict with the village board meeting, but we could do it at 5. Again, the 2 in a row is tough. We are supposed to, according to what the governor said, do 3 total. We had our first one tonight by the 21st. I would like to, my thinking is, and certainly I open it up to the board, so we could look at one Monday, Tuesday of next week. Mondays are a pretty static night. The third one, I'd be inclined to wait a little bit longer, if not Thursday, just to see what kind of response we are getting from parents when we are asking them to make that decision. But I defer to the board and I'll make myself available anytime. I think it's important that the board be there. And then once we set our dates, hopefully we can get the same folks there that we had tonight. If not, I think we have a statement from all of them that we can share.
Do you expect the meeting to be as long with as many questions? Would an hour, if we did it on Monday, it would conflict with the village meeting? I have been attending them. I do attend them. There's a lot of information going on there. I don't want to leave, but I wouldn't want to miss one either. So if we expect it to be more than an hour, maybe Monday is not ideal, but I would make myself available for the school.
I would hope an hour is adequate, especially once we get the FAQ up, because I think a lot of the questions will be the same. And I think if we set it for an hour but follow the same protocol, any questions we didn't get to would be addressed in the FAQ. I'm comfortable with that.
Were there questions that were sent in prior to tonight's thing that got answered, or are they being answered in the frequently asked questions section?
Both. So Aaron and I went through beforehand and looked at all of those, and any that we didn't feel like had been answered in the presentation, he addressed those, but they'll also be included in the FAQ.
So if we did do a Monday meeting, anybody who wants to submit a question in prior to Monday would be able to get an answer either on the frequently asked question page, or it would be addressed that evening, yes?
Yes.
There needs to be another one after that, right? There's 3 total. We did 1.
Yep, and by the 21st.
And
Which is a Friday. When did the survey come out? This Wednesday?
It will come out this Wednesday and it will be open for a week.
Yeah, I think a Thursday would give us a lot of information because the survey would be over right on the 19th. So maybe Monday, Thursday.
And Bill, what time is the village board meeting on Monday? 6?
6 o'clock.
So would we want to do 5 o'clock on Monday for an hour?
I'm okay with that if it works.
I'm fine with
I
that.
can make that go.
And Thursday, might we want to push it a little bit later for people who have difficulty with 5 o'clock and say 6?
I'm okay with that too.
All right, if that's the consensus of the group, we will get that information out tomorrow.
One other question.
Just want to make sure it works for everybody. Is that okay?
Yes.
Gotcha.
One other question. One of those mandates from the governor is one of them with the teachers. You have one of those lined up, and is that information that would be shared with us also, or with the board, or how are you planning on doing that?
We actually have been in touch with the Teachers Association president, and we certainly can set that up. I'm not opposed to the board being involved. Don't know that they necessarily have to. My personal opinion, and certainly I'll defer to them, is for the teachers during the day tends to work better than an evening meeting.
Yeah, I don't really do anything anymore, so I can attend, but if not to, so we have this unique position as board members and over the teachers and super, and I wouldn't want anybody to feel uncomfortable or not be able to voice their opinion because we're in attendance, and I would not want to put anybody in that position. But if it's an open forum, and I'm curious to hear what the teachers have to say personally, helps me make my decision. So if that information could be shared, or if we are able to attend, I would prefer that.
I would be fine with getting the information post. I don't attend, just respect. That's just me. So whatever they want to do, if they like us there and they're fine with it, it's fine. I won't feel bad about it if they don't. Just I guess the information is the most important, the data, right? From what they're saying, the questions they're asking, that's the most important for me.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe ask the MAT if they want the opportunity to share things with us, or if they prefer that more, whichever the preference is.
So it sounds like folks want us to ask them what their preference is, and then you'll abide by that preference.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Okay. We will move along to miscellaneous. Does anybody have anything?
Let Courtney go.
Go ahead, Courtney.
I'm probably going to hit the same thing as Bill, though. So I was going to talk about the census grant. So the PTA had applied in conjunction with the school and the village back in February. I had to look it up because it was so long ago, for grant funding. We asked for close to $20,000 to get the word out about the census, to try and get Menands residents to fill out their census so we could try and get an accurate count of our residents. When COVID happened, that all went on hold. The county, it's through the county. The county didn't get funding from the state. The state wasn't sure what they were going to do. And we never heard anything back. Well, earlier this week, I got a call from someone in the executive office of Albany County saying the grant's moving forward. They're only funding it at half the level they were before. Obviously, the timeline is reduced. We were supposed to have the whole summer, if we had gotten this grant, to be able to try and get information out and send out mailings and print signs and all this. Any grant money that gets awarded has to be used by the end of September. So they're awarding less money, there's less timeline. But basically he wanted to know if we were still interested. We had applied for this grant 6 months ago. Do we still want the money if we get it? We said yes, we'd still be interested. We had to resubmit a new application, and we're waiting to hear back, but I just wanted to let everybody know that that is still a possibility. We haven't gotten it yet. But that will, hopefully we'll be awarded that. Hopefully that'll come through. And I don't know if Bill has it. Oh, and fill out your census. And I don't know if Bill has more he wants to add.
Fill out your census as well as, according to the state national.
You're breaking in and out. Breaking in and out.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I think Kathy's muted and she's in the same office as Dr. Maybe Kathy, can you mute?
Yeah, or just, I guess, everybody mute, and I'll mute when I'm talking. Thank you. So 62% of residents have filled out the survey so far, which is, I guess, right on the average for New York State and beyond. Obviously, that's not good enough for all of us, and we want more people to do that. I'm also hearing at the federal level that they're going to be cutting that early, a month early. I believe, and I'm not getting into politics here, but the Trump administration has said that they're going to cut that because they want the results a lot earlier. So I just want to throw that information out there. But I'm all for moving forward with a grant and doing what we can to make our rate much, much higher.
Thank you, Jeff. So yeah, Courtney definitely spearheaded the information to get the funding. I kind of took charge because you got to corral a bunch of people and get them to agree on things. Currently, the PTA is in support of this. Obviously, the school district is. I'm speaking with Dr. Long on that. The Village of Menands is on board. The mayor and her departments, everyone's on board with this. We've reached out to our county level legislator, Allison McLean-Lean, and she is on board with this, as well as Phil Steck, who represents us in the Senate or the assembly rather, state level. Information is ready to go out. We're just waiting for the funding. It's very important that everyone gets counted. It has a lot to do with, it affects homeowner taxes. In theory, if everyone gets counted, it'll keep taxes down because we're actually going to get the money from the federal government that we should be getting. It definitely helps programs within the school and all kinds of title grant funding that schools get. It helps our hospitals, infrastructure. Everyone's on board with doing this. 62%, we need to do a little better. And the push will be made to get people involved, to make the final push. And I need to say, none of the information is shared with any other agencies. So if you're fearful of filling out the census because you may have people living with you that aren't necessarily supposed to be living with you, that can't be used against you because that information can't be shared. It can't be used against you because all of a sudden you may have outstanding warrants and you figure the federal government's involved in it. It doesn't work like that. It's a purely statistical, informational guideline thing that helps the government say, oh, there are 4,000 people living in Menands and they're due more money. So that's the push behind it. That's the message we're sending out. And I am working with members of our Indian population to find a better way to get them to make sure that everyone's on board with answering that also. So thank you, Courtney, for taking care of things. Oh, and lastly, yeah, there's no sports and I'm really missing coaching.
Does anybody else have anything? Sorry, I haven't had any food since breakfast.
I just want to take a second to thank Dr. Long and the administration. This has not been an easy time, and I don't even think we can all fathom the amount of work that is going into this. And so I just wanted to publicly thank you. You, and I know you have a whole team behind you, to our parents who assisted in the reopening plan, to our teachers who have taken time. And I like what was the saying you said, Dr. Long, come that kinder, and what was that?
Bring our kids back in a kinder, gentler way. And that's Navo's statement, that's not mine.
Okay, well, Ms. Knavo, and I think that applies not only to our children, but to our teachers, to our administration. This is very different. It's very different for everybody involved, and I think we need to come back kinder. So thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jen.
Anybody else? I don't have anything. So we will move along to public comment. Please note, during the public comment sessions, members of the community may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items. The board president may limit remarks of individual speakers to a reasonable time. Speakers must identify themselves and the topic on which they would like to make remarks. I am not seeing any questions.
I do not see any, but again, that email address is boecomments with an S, boecomments@menands.org. We want to give it a second to see if anything pops up.
Yeah, and while we're talking about that, maybe just one thing that maybe just a misinformation that's out in the community around homeschooling and remote learning. I know in the next forum or the forum after that, we will, I think, address that in a more formal fashion. There's a lot of misinformation that, homeschooling, schools helping still, and all that out. So we're gonna clarify that around remote learning and homeschooling, which is really on the parents to take care of. So I know there's been some misinformation out in the community. A couple of parents that I've spoken to are confused about that. So I think it would be best to disseminate what each of them mean.
And actually, among the discussions we were having internally, Jeff was kind of developing a glossary of frequently used terms in COVID-19 and really trying to help people better understand the language that we're using and the language that they be using and hearing.
Gotcha. Still not seeing anything.
I do not see anything either, Jeff.
All right. I will make a motion, or actually ask for a motion to adjourn. If there's nothing further.
So moved.
I'll second. This is Courtney.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
We are.
Have a great night.
Thanks, everybody.